Hey guys, and welcome to EV News Weekly, episode 15, and it's 29 September 2024. Hope you've all had a good week and ready to get into some EV news. Hey Kev, how you going, mate? Good to see you. So yeah, I think before I get started on the actual slides, I'll say a big thank you to everyone who's left positive comments on the videos and also via emails and direct messages. I do now have an email link on the channel, which has been set up. So I've had a couple of emails and messages on the last video, and it's great to get that positive feedback. Doing these videos, it looks easy, but it's a lot of work goes into it. It's certainly that the lives don't do as well as pre-recorded videos, at least for me currently. They seem to get better every week, but I do it because I enjoy the interaction with you guys. And, while we still get support and interaction, I'll keep going with them. So, yeah, big thanks to all you guys for coming in and participating in the chat. And especially those who have joined up with memberships and that kind of stuff. I really, really appreciate it. Hey, Hal. Good old Radelaide. Great to see. All right. So, starting off for this week, got an email from EV Networks with some information about some new sites, charging locations. So some upgraded locations with adding new extra charging bays and that kind of stuff, and also the list there of new sites that have gone in recently. So good to see. And other news for EV is they removed the $30 pre-authorization. Hopefully that doesn't get abused, because I'm sure it'll get put back on if people start abusing the privilege, but we'll see how we go. Hopefully people behave themselves and we can get nice things. Certainly EV seem to be one of the charging providers that are doing a good job, and it's great to see we need more of them. Speaking of that, I saw today that Rivian have released or started rolling out their own charging network. So this is their first one at the Yosemite National Park, and they seem to be more aimed towards camping places, that kind of stuff. Given the Rivian brand image, it makes sense. So they call them charging outposts. They also, I saw the interview with the CEO talking about how much of a game changer Tesla allowing access to their network was. So it doesn't sound like they're trying to compete with the Tesla network. They're just trying to cater more towards their own clientele at this stage. But yeah, I've said quite a while that I really would love to see more of the other manufacturers start to share the load a little bit on charging infrastructure. It's something that's needed to get EVs more mainstream. There's still that range anxiety out there in the general public, even though those of us who have done EV road trips know that there's absolutely no issue at all. The general public don't realise that yet. They probably won't until I actually get to try it and see how easy it is and see how much better it is than driving a nice vehicle. But yeah, like I said, great to see this. It's also interesting in the interview, the CEO talked about how open Tesla are and the engineers working very closely with the Rivian engineers to make sure that everything works smoothly with the Rivian vehicles using Tesla infrastructure. So that makes me wonder why we had so many issues with BYD, whether they just didn't engage or what. But I'm not sure what the latest is in that with the Atto 3s. I saw someone who had a seal that's still waiting and got told there's only one vehicle that's been done. So it sounds like they're still dragging their feet on that one, which is not great to see. Okay, that's good to hear. Yeah. Hopefully, we'll see more in Australia, especially some of these Chinese manufacturers. I know that a lot of them do have some charging infrastructure in China. So if they can bring out some of their charging infrastructure, especially the ones like XPeng and that kind of stuff that have the faster charging, certainly if they can support their customers by bringing that out here, and it'll be good to see. All right, so Tesla supercharging. We've got the voting open again now. So those who are unaware, if you've got a Tesla account, I don't think you even have to have a Tesla vehicle. You can visit that voting page, and you can vote to see what are the next Tesla superchargers that might get opened up. So it's worldwide voting, but it's done regionally. So you can select the Asia Pacific region and narrow it down to Australia. These sites on the screen here are created by Chuck from the Tesla Motor Club forums. He does a lot of work in looking at supercharging infrastructure and what is needed and that kind of thing. So there's a suggestion of the 5 or the 4 there currently that he's recommended people vote for, just to make sure that Australia gets the good number of votes, and that's a good way to go. So if you're got access to that site, go ahead and put your votes in. Consider those as your votes, and we'll go from there. Let's catch up on the chat here. Hey, Tom. Good to see you. Yeah, it's a shame. Oh, hey, Eric, how you going? Tesla's a total crap. Screw electric cars. Interesting. Yeah, I'll destroying the world. That's great. Okay. Bris Vegas. Excellent to see. I'm from Bris Vegas myself originally. All right, moving along. So not so great time for a reminder. So this was a Victorian vehicle that caught fire. The actual vehicle didn't catch fire. It was the charging infrastructure that was a problem. They were using a Chinese import charger coupled with a travel adapter to charge their car. So reminder, don't cheap out on charging. Get a good charger. And obviously the travel adapter wasn't able to maintain the load and caught fire. So it wasn't an EV started fire, but just a reminder there that you're paying good money for a good car. Don't save a couple $100 on a crap charger and risk that sort of an outcome. Hey, John, good to see you. Yeah, I agree. I think that's a good possibility. Obviously, there is a decent right-hand drive market out there. The Model S and Model X, highly likely that the next update will see a shift to the 48 volt and steer-by-wire, which will make the conversion to right-hand drive much easier. So I've definitely got hopes that that'll happen. All right, so Tesla during the week received the International Good Design Award for both the Powerwall 3 and the new Model 3. So this year, the Powerwall 3 and Model 3 received the theme design effect underscored by the crucial role design plays in shaping better products. So yeah, the Powerwall 3 received 2 awards for excellence in design and innovation, and the Engineering Design Award and Product Design Award. The Model 3 received the Good Design Award winner accolade in the product design and innovation category. So good to see some more recognition there. And I don't get it. Like, I see people going on to what's that, Temu and those sort of places looking for cheap chargers, and they might save $100 or something like that. But it just doesn't make sense to me. You're spending, $60, $80, $100,000 on a car, and you want to save $100 on a charger and go cheap. And using a travel adapter on something like that that's drawing that sort of current is not a great use, especially it's the length of time it's drawing it too. That makes a big difference. So I wouldn't be using cheap extension leads or power boards or any of those sorts of things on a charging device, especially for a car. And that's the same sort of thing you see with scooters and that kind of stuff. Again, especially with cheap scooters and imports, there's a higher risk there. How moving along. Okay, so another survey. We've seen a few of these, but again, just showing the brand retention with Tesla just a very clear lead over everyone else for the likelihood of choosing the same car brand for your next car. I'm guessing they didn't speak to Eric up there, because he forgot the 87% people who buy a second car, a Tesla again, obviously didn't realise that they're as crap as Eric says. So 87 retention rate is pretty much unheard of in the car industry. And we couple that with the statistics we saw a few weeks back showing how Tesla also have the highest rate of taking customers from other brands too. We can see that they're going to remain the leaders in the industry for quite some time. And it's good to see Bloomberg, who typically aren't that positive, put this sort of stuff out and starting to acknowledge the fact is that these cars are doing really well. Yeah, that's another good point there, Hal. I have seen people wanting to do the job themselves, and it's not definitely not recommended. Poor Eric. All right. So this one just posted yesterday by Tesla Asia. Exported their 1 millionth car from Giga Shanghai. So that's a fantastic achievement by Giga Shanghai. That's not including, obviously, the local sales in China. That's just their exports. So it's fantastic. Another one during the week, Fortescue Metals grabbed some headlines with the news that they're going to invest $4 billion for hundreds of these giant electric haul trucks, electric dozers, and electric excavators. It's also developed its own EV fast charger with a capacity of 6 megawatts. It's a pretty intense charger. So these vehicles have a 1.9 megawatt hour battery. So the 6 megawatt charger can charge it up in half an hour. So that's pretty massive. The battery itself is 240 ton. So they're bringing in 360 of these T264 haul trucks, 52 electric excavators. They've already got 3 that are working very well, and 60 electric bulldozers that they're currently developing. So yeah, look, it's another nail on the coffin, I guess, to hydrogen. I think that's one area. I thought hydrogen may have a use case, but clearly, I've seen a few of these sort of indications now that these big mining companies are using electric power for these massive machines, and finding that it's working extremely well. And speaking of hydrogen, yeah, so Norway, one of the most progressive countries in the move from ICE vehicles to sustainable vehicles, where ICE sales are virtually non-existent now today. Yet hydrogen there wasn't even able to make any headway at all, and seems to be closing down. I do stand corrected. I talked about trains on the news that the German train was having problems getting their hydrogen supplies. I see there are a few projects now with hydrogen trains, and there is some merit to them by the reading I've done on them so far. So that may be a use case where hydrogen can fill a gap. There's obviously a lot of infrastructure requirements in doing the overhead cables and that kind of stuff that we see here, and the maintenance of those. So they say that hydrogen does have a place there and can be cost effective as that infrastructure wears out. They can start replacing them with hydrogen-based trains and that kind of thing. And there's several countries looking at that now. There still are a lot of issues with the storage and Indeed. That was my initial thought. I really didn't see the point, given that it is fairly easy to electrify a train line. But I can see there is a fair bit of maintenance cost in it, and as well as the initial outlay. Certainly for a new build, it seems like hydrogen is more cost effective. Where we've already got the overhead cables, that kind of stuff, it may take more time. There is obviously the maintenance aspect to it, but it was an interesting read anyway. I sort of kind of wrote it off after that last report, but doing a bit more reading into it, it does make some sense. Yeah, for sure. And yeah, they can have refueling stations are pretty easy to build on a train track. You don't need that many of them. So it's obviously a cheaper way of doing it than building all the overhead lines for a new build, for sure. Yeah, that's right. It definitely makes sense as well. Or they could potentially do bi-mode electric with a fuel cell backup when they haven't got the overhead lines. That might be another way of doing it. Okay, another exciting bit of FUD I found during the week. Article claiming, I won't bother mentioning where I found it. It's been reposted by a dozen different media outlets, all the usual suspects. But a study, in inverted commas, of electric vehicles showing that it's twice as expensive to run an electric vehicle than a petrol one. But if you delve into it, it's clear they haven't actually done any testing on this. This is all napkin math and dodgy napkin math at the best. So they're saying it's an English, UK-based study, if you can call it that, where they claim that a electric vehicle can cost more than 24 pence per mile, while a diesel vehicle, not a petrol vehicle, as it says in the headline, is 12.5. The math they use on it, though, is they're claiming a cost to charge of 80 pence per kilowatt hour using ultra fast chargers. Now, I've looked it up, and Tesla charges are 67 pence per kilowatt hour, which is expensive to be sure, but it's not 80. For non-Tesla drivers, that's 70 cents, 77. So there's a lie to start with. They also claim that the average, hang on, sorry, I'm just going to find a couple of notes here. So for a start, they're looking at the worst case scenario. Anyone who has an EV isn't going to be supercharging every single day unless they're in the situation where they can't get access to a home charger. They've got apartment, they've got on-street parking, they can't get on-street charging or anything like that. So most, if not 99% of EV drivers are not going to be using smart fast chargers more than 1 or 2% of the time. So they've taken a lot of liberties there. They claim that a typical electric car will travel 3.3 miles for every kilowatt hour used. So that's 200 watt hours per kilometre. Now, those of us driving Teslas know that unless you're absolutely, flogging it around a circuit, there's no way you're going to get anywhere near 200 watt hours per kilometre. City driving, I can often sit at 85 to 90 kilowatt hours per kilometre. On a road trip, 120 to 130 is pretty standard. So that 200 watt hours per kilometre again is a bold-faced lie. I have looked around at what EVs kind of approach that. There are a few. So under normal driving conditions, the sort of Audi e-tron, Porsche Taycan, Mercedes-Benz EQC and Hummer EV all kind of sit around that 200 watt hours per kilometre. But they cover less than 5% of the EV market combined. So if you're going to draw your napkin math from the worst 5% using the worst 1%, charging situation, that's kind of a very disingenuous article. Look, I understand that not everyone drives a Tesla, but Tesla have got the biggest market share in EVs. And if you're going to draw a conclusion that running electric cars twice as expensive, at least use average figures, not absolute worst case. I haven't bothered checking their consumption figures for the diesel. I'm sure that's using best case or even worse than best case. Look, even the BYD Seal sits at about 135 to 150. It's got 2% of the market share. So I just as usual, we see these sorts of things. Yes, the auto expert is another one of these fudsters that you see putting this kind of crap out. Yeah, EV sales tanked. Yeah, it's funny that the Model Y is looking like it's going to be the best-selling car in the world again. And it's just taken the title for the best-selling car in the US for the first time for the first half of this year. About to. I think it's funny. Yeah, I guess the long range might be slightly higher because of the fact you got a bigger battery. But that's still, that's very good efficiency, and it's nowhere near 200 watt hour per kilometre. Yeah. Range anxiety is definitely a thing. People who haven't driven EVs don't understand how easy it is to get to charge, how little time it takes, and that there's so much availability. So I think that's going to be a a thing until people just get more used to it and start, having more people they're talking to that have bought EVs, and they start realizing that it's absolutely not an issue at all. But yeah, we'll still see that FUD. They'll still, every week or month they can delay the transition, the more billions of dollars they can rake in. So there's certainly a massive incentive for the fuel industry and also the legacy auto industry to try and keep that false information out there. So yeah, we can expect to see that. Some information from Cern Basher does some really good analysis on Tesla, talking about the Tesla Semi. So we've got the first generation prototypes in this column here, and the second generation, and even the semi trailer there is getting currently 1.61 kilowatts hours per mile, and will soon be moving to 1.2. But the cost savings there are pretty incredible. So annual fuel savings, between prototype 1, 46,000 and prototype 2, 53,000 US dollars per year. That's massive, and that's just the fuel savings. So saw a interview with the representative from Pepsi, and they were raving about how much they're saving in maintenance as well, and how much less maintenance they have to do. So they're keeping these things on the roads a lot better than they were when they are with their diesel that they're on as well. He was surprised about how much the drivers, after they've driven the electric semi, that they don't want to go back to the diesel. It's just so much better a driving experience, so much safer. It's got all the Tesla software that prevents jackknifing and all sorts of things. So yeah, look, it's a massive change. They talked about the amazing turning circle, maintenance, as I said, and these are still very much in pilot. They're still testing this technology, so it's only going to get better from where it is now. But that's pretty fantastic. It's really good to hear how happy Pepsi are, and they're starting to ramp up the production of these things, which is fantastic. Yeah, no, I haven't seen anything on that either, Hal. Hopefully soon. Talking about diesel trucks, another big reason why I'm very much in favour of getting these electric trucks out there, and buses and as well. The effects of diesel exhaust are pretty massive. Semi-trailers only account for 1% of vehicle traffic, but they contribute more than 35% of the harmful particulate matter in the air. So it will make a massive difference getting these vehicles upgraded to the current technologies. Thanks, Kev. Appreciate that. Yep, absolutely. If you can hit that like button, it definitely is appreciated. Definitely helps get the word out there and help support the channel. All right, on the softwares. So we've got the 2024.32 branch continuing to roll out strongly. Over 50% are on that now. Unfortunately, I'm still on the 26, I think it is. So the latest version, which is going out, is 2024.32.6. Have you received 32, Kev, or anyone else in the chat? Haven't seen any new reports of any new features in the .6 release over those I talked about a couple of weeks ago with the 32 branch. For the FSD supervised vehicles, so mainly North America, 2024.2725 is the latest version going out with FSD 12.5.4. So far, we're well on track with the roadmap that Tesla published for FSD. If this remains, we should be seeing FSD version 13 next month, which will bring the ability for FSD to now park itself, unpark, and reverse. So we've obviously got the Smart Summon and Banish outside of FSD, but now that'll all be integrated, so it's all one seamless process where you push the button, tell it where you want to go, and it'll take you out of the car park, or even come pick you up from the front of the mall or wherever you are, jump in, and it'll take you to your destination and go ahead and park yourself without having to switch out of FSD. They're looking at a 6x improvement in the miles between necessary interventions with version 13. So that will be fantastic to see how that plays out. Now, speaking of Smart Summon, I've got a little video here courtesy of AI Driver. I'll just pop this up and get the ads out of the way.
What if you could get a new T60 Max Ute for less than $20 a day for ABN holders? Visit your LDV dealer today or go online to check out low weekly repayment options on selected T60 Max models. LDV, bring it on.
Tesla has released a new version of Actually Smart Summon, and I gotta tell you, I have been absolutely blown away by the improvements I'm seeing.
I might try to do this another way. It's not quite working out that well.
Good coppers, bad coppers, and everything in between.
Tesla has released a new version.
All right. Just bear with me on a sec, guys. Sorry, I'm just going to move a couple of things around here so I can get the video up playing properly. All right, so here we've got AI Driver in a Costco car park doing a Smart Summon. So I'll play certain clips of this. So first one here, just navigating out of the car park. The awareness around pedestrians is definitely impressive, and the reactions by people as they walk past are also quite amusing. It's really going to be interesting to see how, as people see more of these cars driving around car parks by themselves, people have no idea this technology is actually working so well. This is only the second iteration of Actual Smart Summon, and already there's quite a few big improvements. The way it handles pedestrians now, rather than slamming the brakes on in situations like this, it'll slow down and keep creeping forward, so they know the intentions. It's definitely a big improvement. I'll skip forward a bit here. So here we are leaving a car wash. And you'll see it'll come up to the boom gates here and nicely slow down, wait for the boom gates to open. And again, it's cautious still around pedestrians, but it's a lot less than it was in the first iteration. Still, appropriate level of safety there, but definitely an improvement. So I'll go to another one here. This was pretty interesting. It's come around here. There's a car reversing out. You can see it gives the car plenty of room there. But what I like is, as the car starts to come out of reverse, it's preemptively started moving up as if it knows what's going on. It's obviously using the neural nets and that kind of thing to understand what the situation is. And that's really good to see, a very human-like sort of reaction there. Last one here, again, for human-like, sorry, human-like behavior. He's got it in a pretty tricky little park here, and he's trying to get it to come back and do a basically a 3-point turn to come pick him up. There's a obviously a curb there, another car, so it's a pretty tight park. There's another curb behind as well. But again, watching the car make its decision-making process is quite interesting. We'll see here. So you'll see it try a few different options. It actually looks like it's going to try and reverse back into that car park, which is pretty tricky this stage here. But then it changes its mind and goes, F it, I'm going to go around the block. So again, that human-like type decision-making is pretty funny. So it actually drives right around the block of the car park and comes back and picks him up. So yeah, it's fantastic to see some of this stuff. It's really coming along nicely. And great to see. And it's really going to really, I think, make a big difference for the brand recognition of Tesla as people see these things start to do that sort of stuff in car parks. People sitting in when it's pouring rain and not having to go out to their car, they just come to the front of the mall, call the car to them. That's going to be really interesting. Yeah, look, it's still not perfect. People, there are certain edge cases, and that'll continue to be the case for a little while, I think. But it's the number of intervention-free drives I'm seeing from the various people I watch, and the frequency of them is just incredible these days. I've seen some really, really crazy situations that it's handled well, and some really crazy situations that it's needed a bit of help. But overall, it's extremely impressive. Yeah, so that's one of the version 13. Yep. So one of the things that they're doing is combining those stacks. And I've noticed with people who have driven the latest stacks, in the last couple of releases, they have all reported that the highway has improved quite a bit. So I think they're kind of gradually improving that as well. And even on my drives here in Australia, where we don't have any of the neural sort of networks at all, I've definitely seen improvements in the highway autopilot. So I think there's quite a bit of work going on there. And it's very, very pleasing to see. And we'll have to see if Tesla sticks to that timeline. We could be seeing it out here in the next 12 months. Certainly looks like China's ahead of the timeline from what I'm hearing. This is the invitation that's gone out now for the 10th of the 10th Robotaxi reveal. We Robot, they're calling it. So it's obviously a wordplay of Asimov's series of short stories, I, Robot, which others might recognize the title from the Will Smith movie. People have been pulling this image apart to the nth degree, looking at all the binary in the picture there. It's obviously a camera lens. Tesla do often put little hidden clues in their invitations and pictures and things like that. So, quite likely there's some sort of clues there, but the amount of pulling this apart is quite funny to watch. Obviously the We Robot suggests that there's multiple things being unveiled, whether it's multiple vehicles, whether the Optimus robot has a place in it. But we have seen that there's been people walking around with light-up backpacks around the studios. So, I've initially thought that might have just been to map out the road and make sure that everything was going to work, but that could be for the robot. That would make more sense. So be interesting. Obviously, there's quite a lot of speculation. We've only got a couple of weeks now to wait, and should be a very interesting event. So, just catching up on the chat. Are we getting asked here in Australia? I hope so. I would have thought it will come without FSD, because I'm pretty sure I'm pretty certain it's only requires EAP. We haven't got the smart park yet, the vision parking for the newer vehicles yet. So I had expected that to come sooner. So I'm hoping we'll get that, hopefully in the not too distant future before we get FSD. At least the auto park for a start, and then actual smart summon might be a little bit longer. I'm not sure if the regulators get involved in that. I'm assuming they would, like everything else, and that's probably what's holding up the vision parking as well. It's getting that regulator sign off. Can certainly take some time. Yeah, sorry to hear, Hal. I didn't bother putting in for one. I did see that somebody with one share got one, so I guess it is possible to win the lottery. But I believe the ticket numbers are very, very low, and I'm assuming, I'm hoping that's because they're going to be doing, giving rides in these vehicles and that kind of thing. Hey, Mark. Yeah. I think the Vegas tunnels wouldn't work as well, especially if they want media attention and everything else. And the fact if they're doing a robotaxi service demo, then having basically a cityscape to play with, a city street network that isn't going to be getting interfered with by other vehicles and that kind of stuff, then the studio lot makes a lot of sense. They can have someone taking it from a one place to another place and in a city, and be able to do that in a controlled environment. So it's will definitely make some good video, whereas tunnels would be much harder to get, especially with press and that kind of stuff. And it makes it's a lot more of a representation of what it will be like for the actual robotaxis in real world. Yeah, exactly. To be able to do it to a decent audience size, and have them see the whole process from start to finish, and hopefully they may be able to actually participate and jump into some of these vehicles. It's definitely going to be interesting. We saw that that very heavily camouflaged vehicle, I think it was last week. So there's obviously a lot going on. We've heard talk about multiple vehicles, and I think with this Wii robot, it may be an indication that the Optimus Spot may have some sort of a participation as well. Apparently, I've heard that from people at Warner Brothers that there have been some events going on, in the last week or so, whether that's a media preview of some sort, under embargoes. That's quite likely. That happens, quite often with these sorts of reveals. That they'll let media in to have a look at these new vehicles or whatever they're going to show, and do a bit of a review. But will definitely be interesting in the next few weeks as all this starts to come to light. Anyone got any particular ideas on what we might see and that kind of stuff, or anything you're hoping to see? If anyone's got any other EV news or bits that they'd like to discuss, that'd be great. Just pop it in the chat there. Good to see so many involved in the chat. Got 10 watching at the moment. We might do a bit of a member giveaway while we're here. Let me just jump in there and I'll just do that quickly. Looks like I've done too many this year, this month. All right, I'll have to wait till next episode. We'll do a member giveaway. Leap Motors. Okay, interesting. Yeah, there's definitely more coming out. Saw something on the BYD Ute. There's a BYD Shark, the hybrid Ute. Good to see. Certainly Zeekr, XPeng, those sort of people are all very much coming out to Australia. Yeah, the low-cost car is definitely a possibility. They've unboxed or moving towards unboxed process. Whether that's, there's always been a linkage between that and the robotaxi. So yeah, that'll be interesting to see if that makes an appearance. There's definitely a huge untapped market there for Tesla, and that will certainly help get the EV adoption out there. Oh, nice. Yeah, it's a good drive from Adelaide to Melbourne and back. Be interesting to see how it goes, and definitely share your experiences. And Great Ocean Road, yeah, I did that on the way from Melbourne to Adelaide as well. You're going to do it overnight on that trip, or definitely recommend it. I did it all in one hit. Did the Great Ocean Road and all the way through to Adelaide, and that was a bit much, I found. There's some more supercharging options in there now as well, so that's good to see. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, no, it's a good drive. Definitely should enjoy it. Be very keen to hear the reports and see the video. And make sure, if you guys aren't already subscribed to Electric Kev YouTube channel, definitely jump on there and subscribe to him. Does some really good stuff, and it's going to be great to see some of his road trips as he does them. And so I charged up at stand by one sec. So I charged Geelong and then went all the way through the Great Ocean Road to Warrnambool. Had plenty of charge to do that. There was no issue at all. I know there's another charger now, I think Port Campbell. So you've got that option as well, but you don't really need it. But if you want to, it would have been good to be charging at lunchtime. That way, it just makes it more efficient. We had to stop in Warrnambool for like 10, 15 minutes. So yeah, kind of a wasted opportunity when we had lunch on the Great Ocean Road. But as Mark says there, Port Campbell is definitely an option while you're having lunch or something like that, or depends on what you want to do. We took our time. We weren't really worried about time, so it wasn't really an issue. And it would have only saved us 10 minutes if we had a charge while we were having lunch anyway. So it wasn't really a big deal. But definitely, even in the short range, Geelong to Warrnambool was definitely no issue at all. I think I got to Warrnambool. I'd have to check the video now, but I had plenty of charge when I got to Warrnambool still, so it wasn't really an issue. But yeah, definitely enjoy that trip. It was a nice drive. Yes. Well, it isn't just the 6-year-olds. I find most times, no matter who's in the car, everyone needs the brake before the Tesla does. So that's this whole thing with range anxiety and that kind of stuff, especially, traveling the East Coast or even going out to Adelaide now, it's getting, much better as well. There's, more charges than you need. And, the people usually need brakes before the car does. Hey, Kylie. Speaking of which, Kylie just did a trip up to Townsville, Cairns, was it? So definitely doable. I know, when she gets past Sunshine Coast, Gympie, I think that the charging infrastructure is definitely not as good as it is, on the other side of the East Coast. But it's still definitely doable. And like I say, range anxiety is definitely a thing for those who haven't experienced it, but definitely it does go away once you've actually experienced an EV trip. Oh, okay. Yeah, this is the 2024 model, so yeah, it's got a little bit more range. But definitely with that extra charger there now at Port Campbell, makes it a lot easier. Yeah, I did Court Keith and Horsham. Horsham, is that the one with the at the shopping centre? Can't remember which one's which now, but yeah, we had lunch there if that's the one. Absolutely, and that's something that I've done in ICE vehicles. In my younger, stupider days, I certainly would have done the 14-hour drive from Brisbane to Sydney and have very little brake. But I started to mature out of that and understand that that brakes are definitely important. And the EV just makes it so much easier and so much more enjoyable as far as you're not sitting there at a petrol station having to fuel up and hold the petrol bowser, then go find something to eat, that kind of stuff. You can just plug in, go get a coffee somewhere or go get something to eat, do whatever you need to do, go to the bathroom, and almost every single time the car's ready before you are. So definitely not only enjoyable, but definitely less fatigue. And the other one I talk about all the time is autopilot. Using autopilot makes a massive difference on those long drives, Brisbane to Sydney and that kind of stuff. It's a game changer as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, that's good too. Yeah. Nice, good tip there. The pub chargers are always very good. Good meals there. I always love the one coming up to between Sydney and Brisbane. I can't think of the name of it now, but there's a nice Tesla supercharger there at a pub. I usually hit that around dinner time, and it's a great stop. All right, guys, might call it there. Thanks very much for tuning in, and thanks for all the support. If you haven't already, please do hit that like button. It helps to get the channel out there and get the word out there. Definitely appreciate it. And otherwise, I'll be with you again next week, same time, same channel, with hopefully some more exciting news. Thanks again. If you've got any news you want to contribute, the email is in the channel details. The X account is another way to get hold of me, at Tesla Red Jewels. Definitely check out Kev's channel there. And we'll see you next week. Thanks, guys.